Chris. Greetings, folks. Graham, Simon. I know you skate, unless someone put your name together for you and you didn't realize what they were saying, but I'm sure you do. Welcome. Won't be long. We'll just wait a little bit. Got a few people coming along. Great to see everybody joining us again. If you're a member of the Kyokushin, don't forget you should have received your message about Oishi Hanshi's online training tonight. I hope you can get along to that too. Check in early because I've got a feeling that it's going to be pretty full. I've already had messages from literally hundreds of people. Okay, Chrissy, Us, good to see you, buddy. I've got a shout out today. Whit Sunday t-shirt, Chris, Us. My nephew Chris is up at the Whit Sunday dojo with Shihan Wayne Hinchin. For those Aussies who have a bit of sense of history, you'll know Wayne Hinchin's name. He's a real legend. For people overseas, he's genuinely a part of Australia's Kyokushin history. Rochelle, Us from Canada, and Richard Kimura, Us. Thank you for coming. Richard's from Hawaii and a good friend of Shihan Bobby Lowe's. Daniel Langworthy, ready to shoot. Okay, so today might be a bit more cerebral too. You know, Frederick, Us, all the way from Sweden, and Alan. Where are you from, Al? Is that Alan Bellamy from the Gold Coast? Clarence from South Africa. Mike Lorden. Us. Good to see Mike Lorden. Don't forget, guys, see Mike Lorden's name there. Mike actually wrote a fantastic book about Solsai and the spirit of Kyokushin. So it's good to check it out. There you go. There's a link. Check that out. That's Michael Lorden's book. Alan from Bristol. That's it. Good on you, Al. We've got so many Als. But anyway, look, today I'm really excited because I really want to check out this circle and point theory. And we know about it. We talk about it. And I started to write notes about it yesterday, getting ready for today's session. And oh my gosh, it just was like a waterfall. It just more and more and more and more stuff started to come, probably because I haven't really given it a whole lot of thought for a while. And since with the training that I've been doing, since I last thought about it, there's so many parts of the jigsaw have come together. Us, Gaza, good to see you from down the mountain. When I say parts of the jigsaw, even that is probably not accurate because that indicates that there's one jigsaw. But the reality of training is that there's a ton. There's more than one jigsaw going on at the same time, put it that way. So I like the idea of that you compare it to like spider webs. And if you've ever seen my wife's favorite movie is Lord of the Rings, and there's that scene where Bilbo Baggins ends up in the cave with the spiders, and it's just one endless spider web everywhere. And, you know, those spider webs all started with a little spider web here and one here and one here and one here. So you've got the spider web of getting your balance and hand techniques. And then you've got another spider web over here of putting kick and punches together. And then you've got another one here of just the kicks. And then you've got another one here of the footwork. And then before you know it, the spider webs start to connect and you start to see, oh, Paddy, good to see you, buddy. Paddy Pinto, he has a fantastic Kyokushin shuffle. Go and check that out too. And Mike Clark, there we go. Pipo, all the way from, are you still in Vegas, Pipo? I'm not too sure what time it is there. Us, nice to see you. Paddy's web there, I just put a link to Paddy's Kyokushin shuffle too. Really some great interviews there, some interesting interviews. And Mike Clark, always good to have you back again. And there's a good link too. So what I'm doing is if people come along, I know that they've got some great stuff to share. Well, then let's put it up there so you can get a chance to look at things, you know. 10 p.m. in Vegas. Good. I'm glad you're not working tonight. You see Pipo there, his dad, Luis Torregrosa, was a longtime friend of mine from Japan. He's originally from Costa Rica. I think that's correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pipo. But anyway, I was in Vegas refereeing some MMA fights, and I ran into Pipo. He was working at the hotel I was staying at. It was so cool. I was able to go and train at his dojo one night, and he was so hospitable. And so thank you. Never forget that. So anyway, back to circle and point. Man, it's just like this endless stream and so much stuff. Yeah, from Puerto Rico. Sorry, not Costa Rica, Puerto Rico. I get them mixed up, but I shouldn't, because Puerto Rico is an island and Costa Rica is part of the mainland. So I'm thinking the port of Puerto Rico and the Puerto Rico is the port and Costa Rica is the coast. So I should know the difference. But anyway, horse ride all the way from, I got home early. Good on you, buddy. Nice to see you. So you've got the spider web here of the hand techniques, and you've got another spider web here. Or you could relate them to jigsaws if you like, but spider webs work better because jigsaws, if you don't have a specific piece, they don't fit together. But the spider webs will just, so your spider web here and your spider web there, and the spider web of footwork and the spider web of circular motion and the spider web of power off the tendon reflex. Eventually all these spider webs start to connect together, and that's what the real picture is. So when I started to look more into this circle and point again yesterday, oh boy, it was endless. You know, the connection from Enkei to Stomoshiyuke to Moshiyuke to the concepts of even the principles of fundamental blocking and striking, and I'm going to cover all that today. It's really exciting to me because I think if you can get a grasp on this idea, it'll really have a profound effect on your training. Well, Steve, good to see you, buddy, all the way. Steve's come all the way from Brisbane, from Brisbane up the road, I believe. Good on you. I could be wrong. Look, so many people come on and I say hi, but sometimes my memory fails me because, you know, I'm over 30 now. Anything can happen then. So we're going to have a bit of a warm-up, and then we'll get right into do some drills, a little bit of a workout. I may even pull a few cards off the deck. I haven't decided yet, depending on how we go, but I'll have the deck there handy. My son's coming today, and we're going to do the deck together. So I might do a few just as part of the warm-up. We'll see how we go. So anyway, bit of a warm-up, bit of a stretch, some one-man drills you can do on the ground to help you. They may not mean anything immediately, but once we have a partner and you get into that situation where you find yourself on the ground, okay? Even though, you know, Melbourne, sorry, Steve, my bad. Rodney, yes. Indeed, point and circle, not, you know, it's a really valuable principle. And it's corollary, you know, you've got point and circle. Let me show you here. So we have, I'm just going to write this so you can see. So that's a point, okay? That's Japanese for point. And circle. And if you've ever been to Japan, you'll recognize that. They call that a circle is an N, okay? So that's when something costs 50 yen, you'll see that sign. You know, it represents the round money. But there's another one I want to point to is the line. So point and circle is one thing. The point and the line is very, very important as well. And the line is like this. Okay, a little bit intricate, but it's that means a line. And it's beautiful when you break it down, that part and that part. So it's made up essentially of two characters. That one, which means a thread, and this one, which means a stream, okay, like a little stream. So you combine the two together. I'll just put it over here, even though it's a little bit out of shape. So that becomes a line. So a line is actually like a thread that streams. So this is why I call combinations. I don't necessarily call them combinations. I like to call them flows, because a combination sets your mind on a particular pattern, whereas a flow allows you, like a stream, to adapt to what's coming. Okay, so that circle and point is important, but also the line and point are also really important. And I hope I stop talking and we can get on with it, so we cover those really important. Nepal, you guys, I'm sure you'll be there tonight for Hanshi Oishi's seminar. Okay, so shout out to Wayne Hinchin and my buddy, my nephew, Chris Dunn, who's here today. And I wonder if the kids are there. Hey boys, Freddie and Estelle and May, hope you're watching. Okay, just have a little bit of a warm-up and a stretch and some drills, and we'll go from there. How's that? Good. Okay, all right. Thanks for coming, guys. Knees, itch, knee, sun, she, go, hunter, itch, knee, sun, she, go, squatting, itch, knee, sun, she, knee, sun, she, knee, sun, she, knee, sun, she. Loosen that off, let it dangle. Hips, itch, knee, sun, hunter, itch, knee, sun. Double shoulder width. Actually, before we do that, let's just put our arms out. This is a good exercise to do. These are all great exercises. I'm just going to move back so my head's not in the dark there. These are all great exercises if you just want to have a bit of a stretch every half an hour when you're on the computer. Okay, arms in front, twisting. Let the head lead the hands. So the hand and head follows together. All the way around, stop in the middle. Stop in the middle. Which, knee, sun, sheep, and arms forward, itch, knee, sun, hatha, itch, knee, sun, shoulders, itch, knee, sun, knee, sun, double shoulder width, right hand, and twisting. Take the right hand all the way to the outside, knee, sun, look, hit, up, good, itch, knee, sun, and she, down the middle, itch, knee, sun, knee, sun, knee, sun, she, knee, sun. To the right. Just realised my bikes are in the back. Don't know if you can see my bikes. They're pretty gnarly bikes. They're a lot of fun. I went for a ride with my wife the other day, and that's why they're there. We're going for a ride again on Sunday. Hold both feet, head down. Relax into the stretch. Let gravity do the work. So remember, you grab a stretch. Gaze, relax, alignment, breathing. But the G can also mean gravity. You let gravity help you in the stretch. Don't fight it, just relax and let gravity do it for you. Bring the feet in a little bit, bend the right leg. Itch. Again, nice and relaxed. Just let gravity do it for you. Go through here. Deep. Hip flexor. Push forward. And sun. Don't know if you can hear the birds out there in the forest. They're pretty nice. Open wide, so you get on the inside of the legs. And switching it. If you're just watching and not training, well, of course, this will get boring for you. So if you have a little bit of space, you only need 2 square meters to do everything we do. Have a stretch, join in. Put your gi pants on and your t-shirt. Knee. Push forward, push the hips forward. Get that hip flexor stretch. Some. Nice stretch open. Hitch. Leap. Leap. Some. My knees get the better of me sometimes. And Shiko Dutch. Okay, a little wider, feet 45. One of the things you'll find is Hibadachi is good for a young man or a young karateka. As you get a little older, you need to turn your feet in, turn your heels in to protect the alignment of the knees. Okay, remember that. Nice and deep. Now, push one arm in, stretch the spine.
And Hante, the other side, stretch the spine in, nice and deep. Push your hand against your thigh. And so these exercises are all supplementary to your own stretching, because I know you're all dedicated and focused and you're doing your 45 minutes to an hour stretching every day. Good. Okay, shikobumi. Find your spot. Remember, you're stretching the bottom leg. Itch. Nip. Sun. Sheep. Go. Look. Itch. Arch. Nice and deep. Leg straight. Pull down again. And coming up. Migi Sanchin Dachiot. Hey. Stomo Shuke. Itch. Hey. Sun. To the left. Shape. To the right. Sun. Go. Behind. Look. Behind. Pitch. Down. Nice big stretch. Arch. And nore. Good. Let's just do one or two stretches. On the side, I'll do it so you can see. Feet together. Remember, breathe in on the openings, breathe out on the close. So we're going to breathe in, stretch up as high as you can. Itch. Knee, breathe out. Head up, hands stay there. Itch. Hold. Nip. Out. Breathe out. In. Out. I'm only breathing loud so you can hear. Okay, hold that position. Relax your neck. Let it just dangle off the shoulders. Turn your elbows in and lengthen. Don't be like this, so the much as you can. Keep lengthening. Push the fingertips into the ground and lengthen, lengthen, lengthen as much as you can. Breathe in. Up. Breathe out. In. And out. Okay, today let's do a few ground drills. What I mean by that is drills sitting on the ground. So remember, the first one that we've done is the pendulum. We want to look at it two ways to start with. First, we use the straight leg to get an idea in our head of the pendulum motion. Like that. Switch legs. Like that. But without having to lift the leg, you lift the leg and someone's there. If they get behind your leg, they can make it very difficult for you. So what you do is you stomp, kick down for the pendulum effect. So kick, let it pull you up. Back, kick, and up. Kick, up, kick, up. Now we combine it with the sit-up. So it's a combination of the pendulum, the tuck. Okay? Pendulum tuck. Switch legs. Pendulum tuck. Switch legs. Itch. Knee. Sun. She. Now we add the hip push. So we pendulum, tuck, push the hips, come up. Pendulum, tuck, switch sides, push the hips, come up. So from the side, you can see what happens. Pendulum, tuck, push the hips forward. bitch, knee, bitch, knee, bitch, knee. Good. Now you can tuck that leg in. I'll explain this more clearly next time I'm with Ben or one of the students, because you need two men. But sometimes you can be in that situation where someone's attacking you in a stand-up position. If you can imagine that, where I'm here, someone's coming up, and they throw a kick or something. I go out of range. I pendulum back in with my arms blocking. Now what's happened is I have my hand here on their thigh. I have my hand here on their heel, and I need to generate power forward. So what I do is I simply tuck my front leg like that. It was a bit slack because I was going slow, but if you can imagine, 1, 2, I'm here, covering heel, thigh, and then what I would need to do is generate power straight out of Garyu, the Kata Garyu, where you do that motion in Garyu. Okay, same thing. I have the heel on the outside, the hand on the inside, and I need to get my generate power forward. All I simply do is take my base away. I take my base away, I fall forward, and that drives power into the technique. So I'm here, I take my base away, and I push forward, and I end up taking it to the ground. So I can also work a second step and then a stand-up. So we go 1, 2, tuck, 3. See that? So I've taken a second step now. So if they don't go down or if they escape the leg, that leg could go behind and you can trip them like that. So I'm here, I go back, pendulum forward, hands are on their leg, tuck, that takes me forward. Second leg comes around to the outside. I still have the leg, and if you want, you can stand up and finish in that position. Okay, so that's a really good drill. Let's look at the safe stand up now, just for a little bit of a warm up for a couple more minutes. We're here, cross leg, we tip. I have the letter L, my elbow and hand connection, my elbow and knee connection. Okay, from there, tip, elbow, knee. So see, I've created a wall from my feet all the way to my head. And I want you to remember that line, because later on when I talk about circle and point and circle and line, it'll all make a lot of sense, okay? Now we tip, up, lift my butt off the ground and kick backwards and step up. Good. Now you can switch sides if you want. I have to be careful when I switch sides because of my knee. It puts a little bit of pressure on my knee. So I'm going to keep doing the same side. But if you want, switch sides. So the other leg is forward. Tip up, lift your butt and kick back. So once again, up, elbow, knee connection. You've got the hand ready for Cox Comb. If you're not sure what Cox Comb is, tell me. Make a note there on your message just to say, tell me more about Cox Comb. Okay, I'm going to lift my butt and use the momentum of my bottom leg to kick backwards. Lift and backwards. Now, once again, you can do the same thing to take them to the ground out of Garyu. That Garyu motion here, where you take the leg like this. You can do the same thing. So I come from here, up, sway back, kick back. But now what I do is I take a step on my heel, then my toe, and then my knee, and look, that takes me forward to take that leg again. It'll be a lot easier to understand when I have a training partner here. Okay, a couple more. Cross-legged, tip to the L, butt up, kick back. Nice and easy, good. One more, switch sides if you want. There, cross. Now remember, one foot is in front of the other. The front foot, that's the knee that goes up. So if my left foot is in front, my left knee ticks up. If you're trying to do it the other way, you get caught and you wonder why you can't sit back. That's the reason. So I'm here, look now, see which foot is forward. If it's your left foot, your left knee goes up. If it's your right foot, your right knee goes up. Tip to the side, hand is up. Lift the butt, kick back, and away you go. Good. Okay, let's do some push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. We'll just do, I don't know, 20 of each. Okay, ready? Push-ups, hitch, knee, sun, he, go, look, hitch, hutch, cue, do, hitch, knee, sun, two. Sit-ups, hitch, mid, sun, hip, go, look, hit, hut, yup, yup, hit, hit, thump, hit, yup, yup, hit, hut, yup, two. Now hands getting up. Good. Squatting. Hit, hit, thump, hit, yup, yup, hit, touch, yup, yup, hit, hit, thump, hit, yup, yup, hit, hut, yup, two. Deep breath, hit. Hit. Sun. Good. Okay, so just before we keep going, let me just explain a little what we're doing. If you're a casual observer, Damien, Us, thanks for coming, buddy. Daniel, C, nice to see you, of course. If you're a casual observer, you pop in every now and then, you look at these sessions and you think, oh, that's all he ever does. It's a waste of time. All he ever talks about is Enke Gyatsuki Shitomo Shuki Mashuki. You know, and then they lock out. Well, that's fine because, you know, people like that are never going to get anywhere. But the reality is the connection between Enke Gyatsuki, Shitomo Shuki, Moashuki are really, really profound. Now, when we talk about circle and point, Solso was very, he talked about circle and point a lot. And so it's really important that we understand what it means. Okay, so we start to, first of all, get an idea of centrifugal force and centripetal force. Sometimes it's centripetal force. Basically, what you're looking at there is when you work in a situation, centrifugal force is you're working and the body is moving, you know, the body, the entity, the body in space is moving away from the center of the circle. But centripetal force is they're moving towards the center of the circle. So in self-defense situation, there's a lot of centripetal force goes on. The attack comes, I do the block. Now from there, I have to elicit a response. So maybe my fingers go in their eye and they go backwards like that. Then I can turn. Now, that circular motion, this is the circle and point. That circular motion is so powerful because you then drag them in a spiral, in a centripetal motion, where you bring them in and in and in, and you're at the center of the circle. They're going around in a circle, so their body wants to move away, but you're sucking them right in. So at the end of the movement, you're right there on top of them. So it's kind of like if you could imagine that someone attacks, and as they attack, boom, you use that motion there. And this hand might go into their face, fingertips in their eyes, thumb in the throat, it doesn't matter. But then what that gives you is that response, you see? And this is especially important for small people against big people, okay? Because you just can't fight it otherwise. There's the attack going, boom, boom, there's the defense, thumb in the eye. And then what happens is you get that response. Now I'm going to do a push-pull. Pull that arm, take the head, there's my collar. And now this is where the circular motion comes. So I pull them right into the middle of my circle. It's a big right cross, you know. Bang, big right cross over the top. Boom, I cover. I don't meet it head on. I redirect it. Okay, and then as I change direction, I enter back in. And it may be a cross face like that, or you may keep that circular motion going until you end up with them on the ground. So that circular motion is very powerful. And in one respect, a line is a form of a circle. It's just a circle with 2 points. And if you then double that so that, oh, good, thanks. Rod just informed me that my physics is on point. That's not what my physics teacher thought in grade 12. But anyway, here's the 2 points, one line. But actually there's a circle there. So you add 2 more points, it's a square. But actually you add 4 more points and it's an octagon. And then if you keep going, the more points you have on that circle, the more circular it becomes. Okay, so reality is even a straight line with 2 points is 2 points on a circle. Okay, now the beauty of the circle is you don't want to meet things head on. Okay, if you're small,
Sometimes it's good when you're doing kata to look at bunkai. Generally, we're taught with bunkai to deal with someone approximately your own size, okay, which is very valid. But sometimes it's worthwhile to deal with someone who's much bigger than yourself or even smaller than yourself, because when they're smaller, they have the advantage of gravity, of hip depth. Their hips are lower than yours, so they're always going to be able to come in underneath you. But if they're tall, there are certain things. For example, you look at Yansu. You look at the Yansu kata, okay? Some start like this, some start straight up. My way of doing it is start straight up. Now you can grab here, pull if they're the same height as you reach in and grab their collar. And as you grab their collar and you pull in sharply, their head kind of goes boom, like that. And so you pull their head, the jaw, onto your head boom, like that. So it becomes a headbutt there. But that's not going to work if they're tall. If they're, a good 7, 8, 10 inches taller than you, then you pull, boom, all you're going to do is headbutt their forehead. Their chest. So what you do is you reach up for the hair. Now, you don't want to reach up for the hair if they're the same height as you, because you pull the hair and it's just a matter of whose skull is thicker. But if they're tall, you reach up for the hair and you just, bang, you pull down like that. And because they're tall, they come down on top of your head. So you see, there's an example of how you've got to take things according to different scenarios and different height. Now, with the circle and point, the beauty of the circle and point is that it allows the small person to overcome the big. Okay? And as an illustration, you get a kid on a skateboard and he has an accident with a kid on a bike. And the kid on the bike generally is going to win. But then you get the kid on the bike has an accident with an adult on a bike, the adult wins. Then the adult on the bike has an accident with a motorbike, the motorbike wins. Then the motorbike and a car, the car wins. The car and a truck wins. The truck and a bigger truck, the bigger truck, and the truck and a truck. It's just science. It's just momentum. The bigger party, all else being equal, will win. Now, in karate, we have Shingi Tai. We talk about Shingi Tai all the time. The mind it varies. That's the big key. But if the technique is approximately the same, and often you'll find that in the dojo, you'll find that people have fairly similar skill levels. And if the technique is approximately the same, well, then it comes down to who's physically stronger. Okay, and if you're physically stronger, well, then you'll always have an advantage because you're the truck against the car. But if your physical strength is approximately the same, then it comes down to the mind, so the circle goes. And that mind can manifest in different ways. It can be as simple as willpower. And this is why when I first trained at Hombu in 1976, Kawabata Koichi, who became quite well known in 79 in the World Tournament, especially with his fight with Tony Bowden from Australia, Kawabata Koichi was a little guy. And I used to spar him pretty well every day. He was a yellow belt. And he was just all willpower. It's just like the fight had started, it's just boom, and he used to stand against the wall, put his forehead on the wall and kick the wall like this to see whether he could kick someone bigger than him at close range. So that the willpower aspect, the technique's the same. The physical strength is the same. Then the willpower. But another thing that makes a difference is experience, okay? And I like to boil experience down to a simplicity. Of course, everything I do, sometimes it can be too simple. I recognize that. But the simplicity of experience for me is how well you bridge the gap and get into the range 4. You can be a really good kicker and puncher, but if you can't penetrate in and come into range 4, the stand-up grappling range, well, then you're in trouble. But here's the key. A lot of people can just do that with brute force. You just go in and brute force. Where the experience counts is what do you do then? So once you get in at that 4th range, what do you do then? And that's a sensitivity thing and has a lot to do with circles. When grabs, you come around. If you can imagine someone's really holding your arm strong and you try and break it off there, well, then if you get that circle going, you get that Enke Gyaksuki going, that the power in that circle is just phenomenal. And I think it's really valuable to recognize that real experience is knowing what to do once you do what everyone else does, okay? That's where the experience starts, where everyone else finishes. Rud, Us, good to see you, buddy, all the way from Japan. Thanks for coming in. Okay, so let's just have a look at, and look, if I'm repeating myself, please forgive me, but I'm working on the theory that we've got about 3,000 or 4,000 reps of these things to do before we get the hang of it. So maybe it's worth the repeating, but I may not be, because I want to do the Enke Gyakski, Enke Gyakski, Stomoashuke Gyakski, and Mawashiuke, all in a different sort of flow today. So we start to get an idea of the circular motion. First of all, we start with straight lines and then go into the circle. Yes, indeed. As Mike says, you've got to, experience is a great teacher. Sometimes, the scientist, when we have this conversation, it always comes down to me saying, yeah, but sometimes you don't have to be hit by a truck to know it's going to hurt. So intuition plays a role, but experience is very valid. And this is why we have mentors, because we don't have enough time in our life to learn everything from scratch from our own experience. So a mentor, we benefit from their experience. Okay, so here we are today, and we're all talking. We've got Mike and Rod. I'm just going up the list there. You got Rod and Damien and Daniel, Chris Dunn. Chris has got a wealth of experience as well. But we all put that experience together. So it's like a power group. What do they call those things? A mind mapping group, or wherever it is, where everybody gets to benefit from the experience of everyone else. Okay, so let's just look at this technique today. So what I want to start to do is this idea of Enke Gyakski from this position. So we work the idea, the technique, the attack can come from any angle. Okay, now in kata, see how I go off on tangents all the time? It'll be 5 o'clock before we even know it. There's two primary angles in a kata. Those angles are straight, 90 degrees, and 45 degrees. Okay, so why do we have those two angles in kata? Bit of a trick question, but when you get the answer, you'll wonder why you didn't know it. So can you tell me why we have 90-degree angles and 45-degree angles in kata? Okay, well, the reason is, I won't wait because I know sometimes the response for these messages to come through on the live chat takes a little bit of time. But the reason is the human body is a circular shape. So if the human body was square, we'd only have 90-degree angles. Everything we do would be a 90-degree angle. But because the human body is a circle shape, well, then we work angles at 45 degrees as well. So we here, boom, we move off at the angle, now we're hitting that angle. We move off at that angle, and now we're hitting there. We come in for the rip, we hit there, we hit at that angle, 45 degrees. We switch sides, now we're hitting straight on again. Okay, so we have 90 and 45. So you can extrapolate this as to as many layers as you want, but for now, let's work on 90 degrees. Okay, so we're here, and we work on the idea that an attack comes in from somewhere. So for simplicity, so we're all on the same page, let's work the idea that the attack is there to my left. Okay, then I step back, and I do the Enke Gyakski. So I move out of the range, off at an angle slightly, big circle round, and reverse punch. Okay, so let's just do that left side first. Itch. Okay, now the attack comes from this side. Knee. Okay, now we're working the attack comes from behind us. Son. And now it comes from behind us this way. So we've just gone from the normal Enke Gyakski practice of left-right, so now we're going left-right, front-back. So once again, from the left, we step off, Enke Gyakski, there's the block. Okay, there's the pull, and this is the punch. Okay, now the attack comes from this side behind. Always think in terms of coming from behind. Big circle round, and this is where you start to see the power of the circular motion, because if I move my hand like this, so I'm moving all more in a straight line, the amount of power you can generate is a fraction of the amount of power you can generate like that. This is why cricket bowlers swing with their straight arm. This is why pitchers work on a nice big arc. Okay, so we're here. Second one now, right hand, big circle, grab, reverse punch. Okay, now again it comes from behind. So we step into it to close that gap. Punch. Now it comes from the front, which now is behind us. Step, and punch. Let's try that slowly. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. The smoother you get it, the better it is. That's not my original quote. That's 2,000 years old. Okay? So, attack comes from the left. 1. Right. 2. Behind. 3. 4. And back to the start. Left. Itch. Right. Sun. Behind. She. Like that. Now, when we practice it in training, we withdraw the hikite there. Okay, let's do it now with a sense of more reality. So the hand stays up now to protect us. So it comes from the left. Itch. Knee. See, the hand stays there to protect. Now we go behind. Sun. She. And back to the start. Okay, now we're going to add, let me know you can keep up. Okay, now we're going to add the Shitomawashi Uke. So watch what I do now. The attack comes from the left. We step off, Enke Gyatsuki. See that big circle? Enke Gyatsuki, punch. Then he keeps attacking us. So, Mawashi Uke, punch. Okay, so now we're doing the two together. Once again, from the left. Enke Gyatsuki, reverse punch. Mawashi Uke, reverse punch. Okay, the hand stays up. Again. Itch. Oops, sorry, my bad. Itch. Enke Gyatsuki, Mawashi Uke. Now it comes from behind. Again, big circle round. Mawashi Uke. I did the NK and the Mawashi, got it mixed up. Again, big circle round. See, my weight is back in a Zenkutsu backwards, but with my feet where they are, now when I do the push-pull, grab that attacking arm and transfer it in into Zenkutsu the other way. But it keeps coming, so I knock it out of the way. See that? Knock it out of the way. Mawashi Uke and reverse punch. Okay, now it comes from behind and front. There, 1, 2, and back to the start. Okay, so now we're going in a square. In Japanese, we call this juji because it's the number 10 is a shape of a square. Okay, comes from the left. Enke Gyatsuki, 1. Mawashi Uke, 1. 2 reverse punches, both with the same hand. Other way now. Enke Gyatsuki. The difference between the Enke Gyatsuki and the Shitomawashi Uke is simply the body weight. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking my body weight out of the way. So I'm actually kind of facing this direction and I'm doing the technique out my back pocket. Shitomawashi Uke, I do it out of my front pocket. That's essentially the difference. Okay, so he's caught me off guard. He's coming at my back. I don't have time to turn all the way around. So I'm going to defend there. Enke Gyatsuki. Boom. Now look, I'm facing him. So now when I do it again, it's Shitomawashi Uke. Reverse punch. But son of a gun, he's got his buddies with him. He comes from behind. Again. There. Enke Gyatsuki. Mawashi Uke. And again from behind. Pitch. There, like that. So let's go through it once, non-stop. Keep up if you can. If you can't, just go back to Enke Gyatsuki. Okay, ready. Pitch. Neat. Sun. Chi. And back to the start. Okay. That's the Enke Gyatsuki along with Shitomawashi Uke. Now we add Mawashi Uke. So now we do all 3. And I want you to see the importance and connection of that circular motion. And I'm going to talk about that in a sec because the circular motion is actually incorporating a line. It's a hidden line. But when you understand it, which I'm sure you all do, it's nothing deep or secret. It's just the way it's described. That'll make sense to you. But there's a hidden line in it, and this is where you'll see the value. Now we go from circle and point to line and point. Okay, so same thing, except now we're adding Mawashi Uke. So watch what we do now. 1,
Enkegyakski, reverse punch. 2, reverse punch. Now, as I step up, the punching hand is going to tap down. So 1, there, and we finish like that. Okay? He comes from behind. Slip under, Enkegyakski, reverse punch, Shtomowashi-uke. Reverse punch. The reverse punch hand comes up and finishes. He comes from behind. Itch. Knee. Reverse punch hand comes up from behind. Okay, now he comes behind again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's break it down slowly so we get it. We're doing the 3 blocks on each corner. So we start off 1, nice and slow. Enkegyakski, reverse punch, withdraw, reverse punch, step up, Mawashi-uke. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Reverse hand is high. 3, Enkegyakski, Mawashi-uke, Mawashi-uke. And from behind, itch, knee, some. Okay, why do we bring the back hand up? Actually, no, I'll explain that in a sec. Let's keep going. Let's do it now, slowly, without stopping. Ready, itch. Knee. Sun. She. And there you have it. Once more now, I won't do the count. Actually, yeah, I will do the count, but we'll keep the flow going. Okay, last time for this. Ready, itch. Knee. Sun. Chi. Okay, now the 4 points can become 8. The 8 can become 16. It just gets a little bit, training for the sake of training. Whereas by doing the 4 corners, it's more than sufficient. Sometimes you add the 8 corners and it's good as well. But the important thing to remember here is that you start to see the connection between that Enkegyakski circle, Shtomowashi-uke circle, and now Mawashi-uke circle. Okay, now why do we bring the backhand up in Shtomowashi-uke? As a general rule, when I say general rule, that's just my little escape because I could be wrong. So I'm not too sure. But as a general rule, the backhand is the top hand on Mawashi-uke. Sensei Mike Clark might be able to tell us if that's the case in Okinawan Goju as well. But the top hand is the back foot, okay? Now, the reason for that, to me, makes a lot of sense in this respect. I have my left foot forward in Sanshin. Let me go back a bit so you can see. I have my left foot forward in Sanshin, so my right hand is up. There, okay? I step, the other hand comes up. Step back. So my right foot is back, my right hand is up. And that's connected to the arcs of tension that we talk about. So right here now, as I push there, I use that power off the back leg, like a right cross actually. 1, bang, the same power there. But I want to use that arc of tension. If I go front hand here, I have no arc of tension because the connection is already finished. The bunad, the explosiveness is already done. So I use the backhand. That's one reason. Another reason, which I think is very underestimated, is the power of using the actual body as a weapon, not just the hands, the elbows, the knees, the feet. We have those 8 weapons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But we also have the head. We also have the shoulder butt. We also have the body doing the work. If I'm in this position, you see my elbow point, I don't even do an elbow. All I simply do is wave back, enke gyakski, and push my body forward and let the elbow be the point of impact. Okay, so you combine that idea of the arcs of tension with actually using the body, the whole body, as a weapon. And it may be sometimes that you simply come in under, and as you come underneath a barrage of techniques, boom, you can just drive your body into someone, and it has a profound effect. I couldn't tell you how many times, no, I could tell you twice, that I've used it in actual situations where I've been in trouble working doors, and you need to deal with this horde that's starting to come in on top of you. And they throw the punch underneath, and you drive in. Now, here's the connection with Mawashi Uke coming off the backhand. And I realized this one night at 2 o'clock in the morning at a strange place. Okay? There, this backhand is up. Now, you think of that backhand up, and I turn my body, and look, the backhand is still up. Now, if I lift the front hand up, look how exposed I am here. The front hand exposes my body. The backhand doesn't expose my body. So I turn to this side, and then, look, I have this shoulder butt, this hip butt. I have everything here in a protected position with my top hand, my washi top hand at the back here. So I can still use that to add momentum like that. It may not be a punch. So we have, I think it's Geksai Dai. You come in, 1, even in this kata, the reverse hand is up. 2, and then back again, 3. Well, that may very well just change angle slightly, withdraw. See that shoulder butt right there? You drive in, and this is really good if you're small. If you're light and you have to deal with some big bully, all you do is you duck under. Next thing you know, you drive your body into their solar plexus. And it's especially good if you get their foot, you tuck the foot behind their foot, drive, well, then they just fall straight over. So can you see that connection? Okay, so that's one of the reasons, or a couple of the reasons why the backhand is always the top hand in Mawashi Uke. The top hand, the front hand is the top hand, the front of the body is too exposed. The backhand is a top hand, the front of the body is still not exposed, under pressure against a non-compliant opponent. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. Let's have a look. You keep thinking it's Thursday. Yep. That's a great way to be, because if it's always Thursday, it's like Groundhog Day. You never have to worry about the next week coming after the weekend. It's a perpetual weekend. Urs Soren, good to see you all the way from Denmark. Thank you for coming again. So anyway, look, I want to talk about, we go from circle and point. So give me a yes there if you got something out of that idea of the Enke Gyakski turning into the circle, turning into the Mawashi Uke, and the reason that Mawashi Uke top hand is on the back. Let me know if that was valuable. But now I also want to look at a really, really important point, which I get the impression is kind of minimized, and not so much minimized, it's just not talked about that much. And I'd say it's because it's one of those points where even if you're training in Japan, you can minimize it because it's almost like it's too simple to take any notice of it. But here's a simple, almost quixotic approach to it. The attack is with the point, the defense is with the line. The attack is with the point, the defense is with the line. Attack is with the point. Yes, Soren, it is. It's really valuable for black belts. They should be working on this stuff. If their progression from white belt to black belt has been logical and consistent and connected, by the time they get to black belt, this is what they should be working on.
Good point, Soren. Okay, so circle and point into line and point. Well, what do I mean by that? So oishi hanshi. I don't know if you'll talk about it tonight, if you're lucky enough to be in the live stream. But oishi hanshi reminded me of this. Seiken, that's your fist. Seiken. I should stand up there. There's my seiken. There's the punch. There's the punch. Seiken chudan ski. Seiken chudan soto uke. See that? Seiken chudan ski. Seiken chudan soto uke. Chudan soto uke. Seiken. It's still the fist that's making the technique. But the fist is pointing up. So obviously you're not going to block with the point of the fist. But when you attack with the point of the fist. You attack with the point of the elbow. You attack with the point of the ball of the foot. You attack with the point of the koken. Attacks are with the point. But lines, the defense is with the line. So that fist now, what the fist does in the defense is give you a strong line from here to here. So that is what you block with. So it's still a 4-fist block, but it's the line that you block with. Okay? Tensho, look, there's the tensho. When you attack with tensho, you take your fingers across the eyes, okay, to elicit a response, and that allows you to follow up, usually with a nice kick in the throat or the kick in the groin, okay? The attack is with the point of the fingertips, but the defense is with the line of the forearm. So as the punch comes in, there's the line of the defense. There's the counter attack. So the circle, the large circle combined with the line is what allows the defense. And as you turn, there's your opportunity to hit with the point. Okay, so Shitomowashi uke it's a block. So there's not Shitomowashi, Mawashi uke. You're using the whole line of the arm. Where does the technique come? Some people say, well, you should be blocking here. Some say you should be, no, you should be. Well, that's kind of dumb, really, because the whole idea is you use the line from the elbow to the hand. That's the blocking line in the Mawashi uke. There's the block. There's the block. Look, there. Boom. Okay? When you're boxing, you learn to tap down over the top. Boom, boom, bang. Well, then you learn to catch it, right? You learn to catch the glove right in your glove. Boom, boom, boom. In reality, what might happen is it might hit you on the wrist. Well, the judge isn't going to stop you and say, we're going to take a point off there because your defense was wrong. You blocked it with the wrist. No, your defense was right because you blocked with the line from there to there. Boom. Then you turn it over and then you use the tip, the point of the fist. So let that be a nice little rule for you. Defend with the line, attack with the point. Okay? So the circle and point now becomes the line and point, and a line is just coming off that circle. Does that make sense? There's the circle. Look, it's still a circle, but it's the line of the arm which uses that circle to be able to defend fully. Okay? So I really love that whole concept of it. I'm just going to read a couple of things. And this is why, too, I was talking before about using the mind and being able to, when the body and the technique are about the same, well, the mind comes down to experience and everything. So that attack, but when in need, you can use one for the other. Well, not really, no. I mean, it's the only time you'd ever block with a point is when you make a mistake. You don't block with a point. Even in koken, for example, when you block up tate koken, if it's a block, you're not actually doing it with the tip here. You're doing it anywhere between here and here. So it's you block with that line. But when you strike, it's that point. You don't block with anywhere on the arm, okay? Because it renders it pretty well useless, okay? You hit someone with a tip, the point of the elbow, right on that point, you knock them out cold. But you hit them up here with the forearm, and it's very rare you knock them out, okay, given that they're a reasonably strong person. So it's really important that you do get that clarity between the attacks come off a point, the defense comes off a line connected to that circular motion. And the smaller you are against a bigger target, the more circles you need to be thinking of, because it's like the skateboard versus the bike versus the motorbike versus the car versus the little truck versus the big truck versus the train, okay? You don't want to have that head-on collision. If that little kid on the skateboard saw it coming and just weaved around and just kept going, nothing would have happened, okay? So we need to work on that idea of the circular motion being very, very valuable for small people. So it means when the attack comes, I don't try and block it face on. What I do is I turn the circle. And from there, look, tension, turn the circle. That hand goes up, thumb in the eye. That creates a response. Bang, you take the head, and now there's the circle around, and you spiral them down to the ground. Okay, and that, believe me, is very powerful, even for a very small person. Yes, as Graham says, Graham Rose there, another, he's slightly, you're a little bit after Wayne Hinchin. I was mentioning Wayne before, but indeed you'll find that you can, here's the reality. You practice a perfect block into an attack 1,000,000 times, and you're lucky to pull it off perfectly once. But all the other times you pull it off, it's imperfect, but it still works because of that 1,000,000 repetitions. Okay, and if you think 1,000,000's too many, I mentioned Kawabata Koichi before. You should look at the Second World Tournament. And when I was training with him in Japan at Hombu, he was an uchideshi, and he had decided to set a goal in his 3 years as uchideshi. That should be in 1979. He was only a yellow belt when I was training with him, but 3 years later, in 79, he fought in the world tournament and did really, really well. And Raj, you got to go. Thank you very much. But what he did is he set a goal of doing 1,000,000 kicks into the punch bag in his uchideshi training. So he broke that down. Approximately 3 years was 1,000 a day. So every single day without fail. And I can tell you, every single day, I never not saw him. He'd get there and he'd do his 1,000 kicks into the bag. A phenom with the kicks. So 1,000 repetitions, 1,000,000 repetitions of anything isn't that great. It just takes time. So like Graham Rose says, any opponent will teach you that your blocks are never going to work perfectly. So nothing works. That's what we say in the dojo. Nothing works 100% of the time. Everything works in degrees. Okay. So you draw large circles, and that generates power. But the block happens on the line of that circle, okay? If it was just the point at the circle that you were drawing, you'd block nothing. But what blocks is that line all the way through to there. And if you try and block Harry, I'd be interested to know if you've ever really blocked a kingeri with a fist against a non-compliant opponent whose objective is to hurt you. Because I'd say unless that's one of the that's 4 varies, narrow margin of error. Because if your fist is even slightly imperfect, slightly not quite closed, you're just going to break your hand or wrist or both, okay? You're much better off using the line. See that line? You're much better off using the line against, it takes less effort because it's circular, so you're getting that centrifugal force. It takes less effort to block the kick. You don't have to chamber. If you try and block the kick without chambering, you're just going to break your hand. You come in a circular motion, and it's far more effective there. Okay. And the point is, I was saying before about experience being able to boil down to bridging the gap and knowing what to do once you bridge that gap. Well, that's the reality. A white belt can get lucky and bridge that gap. All he has to do is just jump in and he's right there. It separates the white belt and the black belt. The black belt then knows what to do once he's bridged the gap. And he doesn't, it's not like he has to process it even. It becomes a sensitivity thing. And this is why when in the dojo, we often we'll close the gap and we'll touch hands and then we'll go with our eyes closed. We'll try and grab, they'll grab your wrist. You have to break the grip off. It's coming, and it's all done with your eyes closed. And anyone who's here trains with me regularly, will know we do this quite regularly. Close your eyes, work the controls. And what happens, sometimes we call it your round, my round, one of the best ways to train in the world. you get together with your partner and you come in close and you put your head on the chest, okay? It's your round. Then you go and your partner has to deal with you with your eyes closed, with your head on the chest. You have dominant head position. They're constantly having to fight your head, but it's all done with your eyes closed because that's a sensitivity and that gives you the ability. Let's have a look at some of these notes. Raj, you had to go, buddy. Thanks for coming by. Simon Skater. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to use a guy on a skateboard as the worst possible example of a head-on collision. It wasn't directed at you, Simon. Okay. No, it's not about. It's about just simply understanding that blocks happen with a line. Look, there's the line. There's the line. It's not about the concept of a block is wrong too. I don't even like that word. The word uke, chudan uchi uke, jodan uke. Okay, even gedan bare, the word hare literally means to sweep away, but a uke means to receive something. So it's got nothing to do with blocking. If you have the concept of a block, that's where you start going, boom, boom, and you're thinking point against point. It's not. You have to think line against point. Okay, so it's and here's the cool thing is the way you receive it is simply that you have to flow. You flow with it, and then you redirect it, and then you come back with a counter. It's quite simply like that. Attack comes. I use my line to deflect it and redirect it. You can hold them if you can, pull them in so you get the push-pull, and then I counter by coming back in. So you return back into the technique. Okay, so that's very important there. What do we got? Graham, deflection uses less energy and allows you to keep moving. Well, this is what you learn in basics. And when Solsai says basics have all the answers, that's what he means. Because you look at the blocks in basics, Jordan Uke. Look, it's a 45 angle, 45 angle. It's a deflection. If I was blocking, it'd be literally like that. So much karate, but more different styles of taekwondo and so on. They actually do that. Okay, and that to me is a hard style. You've got to be rock hard to be able to even get close to making that work. You know, when they say that they say some styles are hard, some karate styles are hard, some are soft. I think that the closer you move towards a circle, the less hard it is. Hard has nothing to do with how hard you train or how hard you fight. It's all about how hard your connection with the opponent is. Okay, so the more you connect to circles, the more soft style it becomes. Okay, so the upper block, 45 degrees, rising up. Look, there's a line straight up the middle, but you're not blocking with the point of the fist. You're blocking with that forearm. Chudan soto uke, across there. Where's the punch going to come? Is it going to come to here, to here, to here? You don't know, but that picks it up. Okay, look, I like the Uchuke because it's a bit tricky. It's sneaky. Okay, there's the block, boom, and there's the takeaway. So even though we do it like that, well, there's the block there, boom, we come in and grab. What you can do is, there's the block there as well, there. So the blocks in the Gedan Barai, of course, how many times have you blocked with the tip? Hands up if you've ever dislocated a finger getting the timing wrong with a block, okay? That's what happens when you block their point of attack with your point of defense. It has to be a line. You deflect the movement. You deflect it and then attack back with the line, okay? This is such a valuable point, okay? The word block is very convenient for a translator, and I know because I'm constantly having to translate things for people, and to try and find an alternative word to a block is very difficult, particularly now that it's become such a receive. But then what? What do you do after you receive it, you know? That's the most important thing. So there we go, okay? So we have the point circle, we have the pointer line, and the line is actually a circle. It comes off the circle, okay? The line is only implemented off the circle, okay? So, you know, the line, like I said, I showed you those Chinese characters, the kanji, where you've got the kanji for a thread, and you combine that with the kanji for a stream, and you have a line. Oops, sorry, I can't see. You have a line there, Can you see that? Yeah. You have a line. I should just make those a little bigger so you can see. See, there's the line, there's the word, which is a combination of a thread and a string. So it's like a flowing thread, the move threads through the whole flowing motion. Okay, and that's what it is. So you're kind of going with that flow, and then what you're doing is you're sticking to them. You stick to them. A line can be formed with 2 or more points. So there you go. That's what it is. That's 100%, Chris. You got the point of the fist. That's why it's called chudan soto seiken chudan soto uke. The first point is the fist. The second one is the elbow, and there's your line of defense. So anyway, we'll wrap it up there because I think enough is enough. But look, like I said, it's very exciting for me to start to get into this circle and point. And Soso was adamant about it, but unfortunately, a lot of people, I think, misunderstood what he was talking about. But when you think circle point, line point, circle, line, so they're the same things, just depending on their application. Thank you very much. I've gone a little over time. What's 12 past? My apology. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, it does, Simon. It did suit the analogy. Deflection uses less energy. Indeed, it does. It's like you don't have, when I lived in LA, I lived on just off the freeway between LA City and Pasadena. And that's the first freeway ever built in the world. And the on-ramps weren't on-ramps. What they were is a road would come in with a stop sign. Now, that used to work back in the 40s or the 50s, I think it was built. But of course, now we know that the on-ramps are a merge of traffic. Well, it's the same thing. A block is a merge of energy. It's not a head-on collision. So remember that. Us, Mike Clark, thank you. Us, arigato gozaimashita. Thanks for coming. Oh, Graham Levy, I didn't even know. Good to see your name pop up. Thank you. Us. And Simon, good on you. Hope you enjoyed that. Daniel Langworthy, always good to see you, buddy. Alan, thank you, Alan, from Bristol in the UK. Thank you very much. And Fred, all the way from Sweden. Kyle, good to see you, buddy. I didn't see your name there. I missed a few names early on, I think. And Gaza, Rod, thank you very much. Catching the cricket ball, yeah. You got to watch out, Rod. We were still talking about that the other day, weren't we? Deepankar, thank you, guys. Paul, good. Dankeschön. Thank you very much. Coming from Germany. Soren from Denmark. Thank you very much. Tug and Harry. Thank you, guys. Look, I could go on forever, but I won't. It's time to move on. Thank you. Don't forget, double tap. Enjoy. If you enjoyed it, hit like, hit subscribe. If you've already done that, the other double tap thing in the world that we can do is share it, because that way more and more people get to know what we're doing. Okay? And of course, there's my Patreon link. Thank you to all my Patreon contributors. Us, Paddy, you stayed all the way. You mustn't have a session today. Normally, Paddy shoots off for his session at 4. Have a look at Patreon. Go in. If you think you want to share the love, do that. Some people just like to come and enjoy it and not pay anything. But that's fine. I'm happy to do that. But if you think you're getting your money's worth, by all means, support the cause, as they say. And make sure that you do your daily training. There's your AutoCAD list. If you're not sure what I mean, go and check out the deck of cards. Damien, thank you. Steve, Us, thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. Us, and we'll see you next time. Us.